the things I enjoyed. So my top 5 takeaways, the 5 highlights that I got from today's sessions, and then Sylvia might also share some of hers. But these were the ones I enjoyed. So going back through the sessions, the first one is from Sandy Millin. She did a session on exploiting the coursebook. And I just really like the idea of using the coursebook to promote creativity, because that's not something you hear very often. I think you don't think about the coursebook as, oh, okay, this is a really creative tool, but the way that she did it, it actually made me think that yes, there is scope for using it for creative activities. And in particular, I quite liked extend the conversation. So if you have a dialogue or little bits of dialogues, you can extend the conversation with what was said before or what will be said after. I liked the banana sentences, so which you repeat the bit of a dialogue and replace the keywords for banana and with the word banana, and then the partner has to give other ideas, has to guess. So I quite like that. I think it's fun. I think it promotes creativity. And it also promotes deeper processing of the language. The second thing I liked, and obviously I like this because I'm a huge fan, I'm tooting my own horn with this one, I'm a huge fan of bottom-up listening. I just really like the idea of doing gap fills for things that you wouldn't normally do gap fills for, like weak forms. So instead of doing a gap fill for content words, your nouns and your verbs and your adjectives, the things you would normally focus on, focusing on very frequent words, grammar words like and or in, it's, those types of words that the students have to learn to recognize, or choosing between similar sounding words, because that really forces students to focus on the sounds of English, which is something they don't get a lot of experience with. But that's also something that can help them, not just improve their listening, but also their pronunciation. And then from Rachel's presentation from this morning, I like the idea of using emergent language, so the language that the students produce, for focus on form. The idea of filling the gap, so comparing what they said with what they could say. So here she collected what the students said in, live during the class, like he's your husband, or is possible she's your sister. I don't know how many times I've heard this kind of mistake in Italian students. You probably share the same experience as me. Is possible she's your sister. So they don't use modal verbs, they forget the subject. And so you tell them, this is what you said, and that's understandable, but this is what you could say. So you fill the gap between their production and a target language production. And I think that really meets the criteria for second language acquisition as well, that noticing, that focus on form, that fill in the gap that exists there. Task repetition. Task repetition is something that's been mentioned by more than one person, and Sarah Priestley mentioned task repetition and visualization. So if you have lower level students especially, but not just, this is an activity you can do to kind of help them and to help them visualize the things they're doing. So this is a pair work activity, right? Students ask each other what they're going to do at the weekend and what they aren't going to do at the weekend. And then it's really simple. They draw a Venn diagram and they see what they're going to be both doing and what only one of them is doing. I really like this activity. It's so simple. Students in middle school, but also in high school, but in middle school especially, they'll be familiar with the Venn diagram. It's just really simple, and it's a different way of applying concepts and visualizing them. And then the idea of performance versus learning from Andre Hedlund's presentation. So the idea that performance can be observed and measured when you take a test, but learning is what sticks with us. And so they're two different things, and we need to bear in mind that what we measure by taking a test doesn't necessarily tell us what learning. That doesn't necessarily tell us everything we need to know about the learning that has occurred, both in a positive and in a negative sense, I feel. I don't know if Sylvia, you had anything you wanted to share, any activity you particularly liked or ideas you took from today's sessions?
So many. I've got a notebook full of notes actually. But just I loved the Venn diagram, by the way. Yes, I'm a great fan, Sarah's Venn diagram. I really appreciated your tools on so English and the other two that you shared. So
yeah, English, Tube Quizlet, and lyrics training.
And lyrics training. I use lyrics training a lot, but not the other two. So yeah, no, thank you for that. Thank you for the heads up. And Rachel's idea of eclecticism. So again, I remember myself when I started teaching, trying to stick always to that one framework. And she reminded me how it's okay to pick and choose and put them together and mix them in the pot. So yeah.
We could actually review. I don't know if we ever talked about this, but Sylvia and I did the same master's degree in TESOL, so that's how we met 10 years ago now. And it's it's something that we did look at, didn't we? PPP and TTT and whatnot. Yeah. And you sort of get boxed in one of these frameworks, and then you've got to use it all the time. And like the teachers now taking the concurso, a lot of them, in my experience anyway, a lot of them have been asked to use this ESA framework as if that were the only thing that you can use. And fair enough for the purposes of the concurso, of course, and it is a useful framework. Nobody's saying it isn't, but it kind of boxes you in, doesn't it? And you feel like you have to do things in that particular way. And the answer is no, you don't have to do things in that particular way all the time, as long as you can justify what you do, like Rachel did today. Very well, I thought. Yeah. So these are our takeaways from today.